New Orleans for dinner and to check out the city for the first time, and we were just saying how we've never seen so much undeveloped land this close to a major city. We're only 15 miles out, and it is swampland, and the highways are built way up above the swamps and the water. So it's really interesting landscape down here. Of course, you know that New Orleans is on the bayou. It's on the Mississippi Delta. The Mississippi River runs through it. But I just never imagined that so much of it would be undeveloped. Hello, circuit riders from New Orleans, Louisiana. We are having a great week here, and by total coincidence, we happened to book an RV park outside of New Orleans for the week of Mardi Gras. You can see behind me that there's tons of houses along St. Charles Avenue that are decorated for Mardi Gras. So this year, New Orleans has decided to cancel all parades and activities regarding Mardi Gras because they're trying to keep the crowds down. Well, let me tell you, St. Charles Street on a Saturday night is full of people, and they're all coming out to see these beautiful houses. So they're having what they're calling a parade of houses. So the houses are decorating themselves as parade floats in place of the traditional Mardi Gras parades. Even though the parades are canceled, there's still a real atmosphere of Mardi Gras here in New Orleans. Now, I can't say that I'm unhappy about this parade cancellation because New Orleans has a reputation for getting pretty wild and raunchy during Mardi Gras. So we're fine with that. We're fine missing all of that and just seeing the pretty houses and hearing the music and just taking part in the fun atmosphere. So we're about to head out to a nice restaurant for dinner, and we're looking forward to exploring this area a lot more in the days to come. Trying something for the first time here in New Orleans, fried alligator.
Yep.
All right, Jason thinks it tastes like pork. Let's see.
A little bit like a chicken. Good.
I would say it's more of a pork texture, a little chewier than chicken. Tastes good. We also have some pork and black-eyed pea gumbo here, and we've got boudin balls, which boudin is a sort of sausage, Cajun sausage that's fried, and we have wood-fired oysters, and we're also getting some catfish for dinner. We came downtown for some dessert. We're getting fancy beignets, and here's a king cake beignet for Mardi Gras. There is a monster cold front sweeping through the middle of the country here in mid-February, and it is cold. Now, I know those of you who are enduring winter in the Northeast and the North Midwest, don't have any time for my complaints, but I got into an RV so that I would not have to endure those winters anymore. And now it's highs in the low 40s this week. It's raining, and tomorrow for the next 3 nights it's supposed to get into the teens. So today we thought, where can we drive to so that we can just be in the truck? We're gonna head down and explore the Mississippi Delta region of southern Louisiana, all the little marshes and bayous, and there's a couple of roads that go all the way down to the ocean, and one in particular, Route 1 actually, goes down to a little place called Grand Isle. It's a little over 2 hours from here, so we're just gonna get in the truck and have a lovely Sunday drive. Now, when it gets this cold in the RV, we do have our little electric fireplace, which I've showed you before, and we have a propane furnace. And the electric fireplace has been great for all kinds of situations. We only use that exclusively most of the time. However, when it gets into the 40s or lower, it needs a little extra help. So this week we've been running the electric fireplace. We got a new little ceramic heater that we have at the other end of the kitchen, and I also have an older ceramic heater that I have on the floor of my bedroom, and those three together keep it nice and cozy in here. Another thing that we'll do if it's getting very cold and under freezing temperatures is manage the water out there. So we'll unhook the water hose from our wet bay and unhook everything there and close it up and fill our fresh tank with fresh water. That way we'll still have water in the rig to use. And he'll also turn off the spigot at the source, but leave the end of the hose open. So if the spigot is off but it still freezes, the water will have some place to go out the end of the hose. So just a little bit of water and temperature management info for you for full-time RV living. Stretch of Route 1 going down the bayou section here to the Gulf Coast is so interesting. It seems like very narrow strips of little villages along this canal or river. It's named bayou something. So I think the word bayou is a water designation, sort of like lake or pond or river. And there's all kinds of industrial boats and businesses along these. So we're trying to figure out what the people who live here do. Is it all just their jobs and industrial shipping and that kind of thing? Or is there any kind of town culture going on in these places? We're on the lookout for things like theaters and libraries and shopping centers, and they are few and far between. So very interesting culture down here in the bayou. Museum in a truck, Jason just said.
Like say it again.
We feel like we're at the end of the earth down here, coming out to Grand Isle, the end of Louisiana.
We love doing exploring stuff like this, and I was just thinking, it's like doing an outdoor museum in a truck, because you're really taking in all kinds of different cultural stuff, the way people are living, the landscape, and that's always fascinated me, so it's pretty cool.
Weirdly impressed with the trailer on stilts. I think that is. I wonder if they have a big crane that puts them up there, or if they just jack them up.
First icy morning in the RV. Well, we've mostly made it through the deep freeze here in the south. It started to warm up today to 50 degrees, I think, so we are done with cold, but it's such a perfect night for a nice warm bowl of chili. I don't usually make big pot meals like this in the RV, especially since it's just the two of us, but when my kids were little, I made chili all the time, so I just felt like a big pot of it today, and I'm gonna make an extra big batch so that I can freeze some for later. And my secret ingredient is a little bit of bacon in the chili. It gives a nice, fatty, greasy flavor. Yummy. It's a beautiful sunny day here in southern Louisiana. We're so grateful for the sun and the end of the cold snap that's been going through the south over the past week. So we are out for a scenic drive today. We're coming a little bit south of the city so that we can go up the Great River Road. Have you ever heard of this? Because I never had. It's a road that goes through the middle of the country from Minnesota all the way down to Louisiana and follows right along the Mississippi River. And I'm so excited to see it here. You can see it behind me because I've never seen the old historic part of the Mississippi River. I saw a bit of it up in Minneapolis. So this is a really special trip for us to be able to drive along this beautiful river. But down here in Louisiana, because we're so close to the coast and the Mississippi Delta is such a floodplain, there's this big berm that's built up next to the river all along here. And when we were driving last week around New Orleans, it was the same thing, that you would drive along the road, but you can't see the river because of this big berm that's kind of the, flood barrier. And there's a nice walking path all along it, so you can get up here and see it, but I was disappointed because we couldn't drive along and see the river. Oh well, it's still a beautiful sight to see. I was just thinking that on the Great River Road here, technically we're still east of the Mississippi, which is just kind of a designation of like, in the United States, you have east of the Mississippi and west of the Mississippi, and I've always lived east, and I've only vacationed out west. But this week, when we move from Louisiana to Texas and cross the river, then we're going to be living west of the Mississippi, which is just a really odd thing to consider. We're heading out for our second day in New Orleans. It's warmed up in the 60s today, so we're going to do my GPS My City again and do a little introductory walking tour of the French Quarter. We're in Jackson Square in the heart of the French Quarter of New Orleans, and behind me is the Cabildo, which is the government building where the Louisiana Purchase was officially transferred to the United States. The treaty was signed in Paris, but this is the building where the actual transfer took place in 1803, and it's right beside this beautiful St. Louis Cathedral. A little grittier. We can see why it has the reputation that it does. That's all I'm saying. But a very cool city to explore.
Yeah, eclectic and really lots of interesting stuff.
Yeah. sailboat on the Mississippi River. Very cool. We haven't done all trails for quite a while, so we looked up what was nearby and we found a swamp walk. We must be in Louisiana bayou country. This is a beautiful boardwalk through this swampy area. Nice. Today is the first day that we've really been able to walk around this campground in the warm sunshine. And we're seeing how beautiful it is now. You know, we were just saying that sun makes all the difference in your outlook of some place. When we were here and it was freezing temperatures and it was rainy and gray every day, we were like, it's okay. But now that we are walking around in the sun, we can see what a beautiful campground it is, and lovely landscaping. It's large, it's a good walking campground, so we would definitely come back here. And this is a Yogi Bear Jellystone Park, which Jellystones are generally known for being very family friendly, having lots of kid activities. And we can see that in the summertime this must be crawling with kids because there's lots of things to do. But
it's also part of our RPI little sub-membership tier as well.
And we've been saying the past 3 campgrounds that we've stayed at were RPIs, and we were a little bit, they were kind of uneven. Some of them were a little bit trashy, you remember from my previous videos. So we're glad to see that this RPI is a nice quality campground. And we've never seen this before. See these kind of barn dominiums that the RVs are parked under? We're assuming that these are seasonal sites and the people own these. We wouldn't be able to park in something like this, but because I assume the hot Louisiana sun during the summer, it's more attractive to have your RV covered, especially if you're gonna stay here all season. Very nice.